Well, the gang's all here. Let's hit the road.
It's the Disney Plus.
Wait, baby. That's what I was looking for, baby. I gotta have that. Wait. Wait. Wait, baby. Sorry, baby. That beat just do something to me. Ooh, ah. Oh. I might change this up. I might go back and do that. I might just change it from wait, baby, to Hey, this your boy Big Nate with the Real Underground Radio Station. Wait, baby. This Nate Logic, baby. Now that we have all the preliminaries and all that energy out the way, what's up with it, good people? How y'all doing? Hey, man, I know it's been a couple of days, so I miss my people, but I'm glad to be in the house today. This is your boy, man. This is your favorite guy, the bullhorn, the big dog with the bullhorn, baby. The big dog with the bullhorn, the person that's saying what you need to hear. Listen, baby, I got something that you need to understand, and I got friends. I got my good friend, hold on. I got my sister.
Yes.
My good soror, my good sister.
Yes, sir.
I'm so excited to say that. I'm so finally excited to just say that. My good sister with me tonight. State rep.
Yes.
Vivian Flowers.
Yes.
Democratic nominee.
Yes.
For mayor of Pine Bluff.
Yes.
Vivian Flowers.
Yes.
On 5-3 DST. Vivian Flowers.
Yes.
What was your number?
50.
Number 50 from
Yes.
53. Number 50, for
Yes.
those who don't understand, number 50 from the, I'm gonna let you say it, but I'm gonna say it the way I want to say it because I got some years in the game now.
Please do.
Number 50 from 53 from DST, Pine Bluff alumni, PBAC. Is it PA? Yeah. That's what it's finna be. This your boy, man. This my good sister, Miss Vivian Flowers.
I think you said it just right.
I said it right?
You said it just right.
I want to make sure we got some understanding, man. I dare not mispronounce it, misunderstand it, misrepresent it. I want to make sure folks understand what we saying. So I don't want nobody. I know how the sisters of DST can be, and I don't want no smoke. I don't want no smoke.
I would say what you mean by that, but I'm glad you recognize it.
I don't want no problems.
Okay.
I want to be able to go back to Pine Bluff with
That's
no problems.
Right. That's right.
I want to make sure we can y'all hear me okay? Y'all hear me good? Put a 1 up in there. What's up with my brother Ed? My brother, hey, I love you, brother Ed the barber. Hey, my dog Ed McGraw. If you need a haircut, tap in with my boy. What's up, Carlton? How you doing, man? Yeah. What's up with everybody tuned in with us, man? Hey, so listen, man. Tonight's gonna be just a relaxed night. We gonna get too deep into everything, but we're just gonna talk about a lot of stuff.
Okay.
So I want to make sure everybody tuned in. Well, before we go any further, I need my people to share this, man. I need y'all to share this with your live, share this with your folks. Make sure everybody tuned in. We need some folks tuned in so they can hear what we got to talk about tonight. Because we're going to say something that you need to hear, that you need to put in your pocket and take with you. I want to make sure that everybody get an opportunity to tune in to this, because if you don't tune in to this, you might miss out on some game. And you know I don't want my people missing out. I need all my folks tuned in with me tonight. So, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. It is a whole lot going on, but I'm just
It's a
still
lot
so
on your
blessed.
plate.
Yeah. We're about to ramp up for another campaign.
About to get it going.
About to get it going.
This would be your, how many campaigns is this on?
Third. So I was in the primary, and I think there were 6 or 7 of us, six of us. And then I was in the runoff with Mayor Washington, and now I'm in the general with John Finley, who is running as a Libertarian.
Who else is in this?
That's it.
Just you and old John.
You know, John. Yeah.
Shout out, John. What's up, Mr. Finley? Yeah, okay.
But, I mean, how I have tried to approach the whole campaign process is to really focus on connecting and communicating with voters and with the people, and just talk about what my plan is, what my vision is, what I'm going to do, what kind of leader I've been, and just, why I want to serve as the next mayor of Pine Bluff.
I think the people are excited about that young, vigorous, innovative way of doing things. I think the people are going to really gain from your experience in the state and just worldwide, and your relationships, and from your experience in the political world and your network as well. So I think these things are extremely important. So I think the city of Pine Bluff will benefit greatly from that.
Thank you, Nate. I pray so. I mean, that's how we trying to do it, and it's not even just about my experience in relationships, because it's not just about what I can do. I think it has to be about strong leadership throughout the city. It has to be about unifying the city. It has to be about focusing on those things that I ran on. That's transparency and accountability. That's investing in our youth, and that's economic development with a particular emphasis on our infrastructure, and on expanding our tourism footprint.
I think those things.
And last but not least, public safety.
Public safety is huge.
Yes, sir.
One thing that some of the tangible, or not tangible, some of the intangible challenges in Pine Bluff, meaning that these aren't challenges that you can measure or whatnot. The segment in Pine Bluff, the lack of, people being on one accord. And you spoke to it earlier bringing together the city of Pine Bluff. What are some of the ways you think you'll be able to do that?
Well, I think that a couple of things. Number one, everybody wants to be heard. You know what I mean? As a citizen, as a city council member.
Pull your mic closer to you.
As a citizen, as a city council member, as the mayor, whoever, everybody, people want to be heard.
Right.
And I think that we have to make sure that city government is equipped to do its best to make sure that everybody's heard in the right venue, in the right way. That's number one. And then I think number two, I think we have to rally around and work together on those things where there is common ground. And I think all of us want a safe city. All of us want jobs and opportunity, resources. All of us want to see people move to the city, people open businesses in the city. All of us want to see quality and affordable housing. You know, those are things we want to see. And I think that if the plan is for us to work together, engage state officials, engage federal officials, engage the private sector to do that together, you know, I who can be against that?
Agreed.
You know?
Agreed. You know, with the downvote of go forward, how do you think you'll be able to get the private sector back into this? Because from my perspective, which is, you know, sometimes ill-gotten or whatever, from my perspective, if I'm a investor, I'm looking at what just happened at that downvote for go forward, and I'm like, well, maybe this isn't a city that's interested in investing in itself.
I think that so different people had different reasons for not supporting. Okay, now, and you might say, well, you know, some people are just negative and don't want change, and you have that. You have that in every city. You know what I mean? In every organization, every household. But excuse me. But by and large, you know, I think that for people like myself who wasn't supportive of the measure, that doesn't mean I wasn't supportive of a sales and use tax. That doesn't mean that I'm not supportive of growth. That doesn't mean at all. And I think that, you know, whether you're someone like myself who's running for mayor and I have to sit down and talk to people and explain, hey, this is my vision. This is what I hope we can do together. This is what I want to see the city do. This is what I was for. And these were the concerns I had with that measure. But I think we can restore the public trust in those areas where people had some legitimate concerns. And then together figure out, you know what, how do we, number one, utilize the resources that we have? And then number two, if we're going to collect additional tax dollars, what do we spend them on? How do we create a plan and a timeline? And then if we do say, you know, we want some of those dollars to go toward public-private partnerships, how do we do that in a way that the people can trust? And I think any business that exists is kind of going to agree. And I haven't talked to anybody, particularly who has a dog in the fight, who has a business, who hasn't said, you know what, we probably did need to spend some of those dollars on enhancing our public safety. And it's not just about police, which we need to make some investments in that area, but public lighting. Like when I started talking about public lighting, everybody's like, yeah. And I was addressing that as a state rep. You know what I'm saying? Or public surveillance. And that's not to be Big Brother and capture everybody and use that against the average person. Right. It is, if major cities and including smaller cities like our bedroom community, Whitehall, have cameras so that you can get surveillance of people coming in and out of your city and in major thoroughfares. Why wouldn't we have that when we have some of the challenges we have with gun violence? So those are some of the things I think that private business heard and agree with. And I think citizens agree with that. So the next step is, okay, if we're all in agreement, how are we going to come together and make it happen?
So basically, sometimes people were, what I like to say, throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know, and I can say there were, and everybody knows that I was Mr. Go For It. So whatever. You know, outside of Ryan, I was running with that baton. You never had the idea or concept of throwing the baby out with the
Never.
bathwater. Like
Never.
everything about this
No,
is
we
bad.
gotta work for and save the babies.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But if the
We're not doing
if the bathwater ain't bubbly, and the bathwater is a little murky,
it need to be changed.
let's change the water. Never throw the baby out. You lay the baby over here in a safe place so the baby don't drown, right? You let that murky water out.
Yeah, yeah.
You put you clean the tub.
Clean that tub first now.
Then you run some tepid or warm bath water. You don't want to burn the baby when you put the baby back in.
What you clean the tub with then?
No, I'm saying once you clean the tub.
What you clean it with?
What do you clean it with?
Yeah.
Oh, I clean my bathtub with Comet.
You can't put that in the tub with the baby though.
No, you said what do you clean the tub with?
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I'm saying you got to clean the tub good with what you clean the tub with.
What you clean the tub with? Okay.
Once the tub is clean, you run the bath water again. You put the plug in it. You get some fresh bubble bath.
Right.
You might put a little, I hate to say this on the day that we heard about Sean Puffy Combs, but you put a little baby oil in the,
No, we ain't doing that.
Not none of that. I don't want no Sean Puffy Combs baby oil, but just a little bit of baby oil in the bath water. And then you put the baby back in the fresh, bubbly.
We're not using no baby oil. We don't even want nothing to do with baby oil right now.
Right.
But
you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I definitely
right?
agree with you saying.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a lot of the problems that a lot of people were running into when they were, in my opinion, when they were anti-go forward. You're so anti-go forward, or you're so, what some would say, and even I say, I ain't gonna say some. If you're anti-go forward, you're anti-progress. That's how I felt. And
I know that's how you felt at the time. And I think sometimes when you're so close, you can't see the flaws. You can't see. You know what I'm saying? When you're so invested, and all you can see is because I was never someone that said there wasn't any progress happening, but again, when you have limited funds and you have major issues, and you're pouring and investing into the progress. But for example, we're continuing to lose population. How do we address that? Because we can have a new aquatic center, a new library, new sidewalks on Main Street. We can have all of those things. We can even bring in a few new jobs in the industrial park. The chief of staff in the mayor's office at the time did her due diligence and helped lay the groundwork she laid the groundwork really to bring Chick-fil-A. All of that is great. But if all of that is happening and people are still afraid to come to Pine Bluff, people still see us as a place riddled with crime, and people who might come work there, and we have a whole lot of that in companies all over the city.
They don't want to live
at
there.
UAPB, they will come to work, but they don't live there. Right? If you've got some issues with your schools, that's a problem. Because just like every city, people leave, people die and pass away, right?
Attrition is real.
Attrition is real.
Yeah.
So if you understand that, and that attrition is happening, but growth is not happening, people aren't moving to the city to make up for and at least keep a balance so that our population is not declining. If we're not doing anything about that, who is going to start a business where population is declining?
Well, let me ask you this. Was there ways, or is there ways to incentivize people who work for the city, people who work in the police department? Is there ways to incentivize people to want to live in Pine Bluff? So if you're a Pine Bluff police officer, shouldn't you want to live in that community instead of traveling back and forth to Bryan or wherever you live at every day? Could we incentivize you to live here in Pine Bluff?
If I recall correctly, there were incentives. There were housing incentives. There are incentives. But if there aren't enough incentives for us to balance the attrition.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The only way we can truly, sustainably incentivize people moving to the city is to make the city a place where people want to move to.
And people want to be.
And people want to be, again, where they're safe, where their kids can go to school and get a good education, where on the weekends they don't have to travel 30, 40, 50 miles to go to a movie, to go get something to eat, to go to Target, or to, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
frustrated by the fact that we ain't got no movie theater.
yeah, I mean, and so there are some basic things that we have to focus on first to make all the other stuff make sense, and which means you have to prioritize some of those things. And so that's not to say that, for example, that we don't need a go-kart. But for people who are already invested, people who live, drive, work in Pine Bluff, spend their money in Pine Bluff, if we're not really dealing with the potholes, and that wasn't even my thing before I really started running in the race. It was doing all of those candidate forums where that's all people were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if I have a house, I had a very prominent woman who lives on the west side talk about how the value of her home has plummeted. And in that area, another woman who I was introduced to lives in that area. You can barely drive on some of those streets without.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
These are real challenges.
So that, coupled with the crime, coupled with the depopulation, so now you got empty houses next to your house. Like, we gotta deal with that first before you say, you know what, I'm gonna put this here and I'm gonna put in spin. And it's hard for people to see. And I'm not, no disrespect to anybody, but I did a video on this. So when you have issues like poor and dimly lit streets, kids who have nowhere to go, out of control violence, very little sort of promotion and communication about what we do have, no movie theater, as you say, and on top of it, all the other issues I just mentioned about home values and the potholes. It's very difficult for me as a taxpayer, whether I'm 20, 30, 60, 70, 80. It's very difficult for me to understand why my leadership would say, extend me another tax for us to raise tens of millions more dollars and all of those issues to my satisfaction without any real understanding around why have not been addressed. But I see a downtown trio of buildings that have a facade and nothing in them, and there was over $1 million spent. It's difficult for people to understand that. Now, I have since learned what happened, and I still think that there should have been and could have been some things done differently, but I understand how it happened. And it didn't happen by, somebody stealing the money. But you got rumors out there. So that has caused people to lose trust. It's not just people who have been vocal on social media. I can't tell you how many people in private said, I'm so glad you ran, and we just need a new direction. And people didn't vote for me because they just love Vivian. A lot of people don't know me. Some people do. A lot of people don't know me. They may know my relatives. They may know me because they saw me on TV, right, from my years in the legislature. But they don't know me. But they knew what I was saying was real. They knew that I have fought for the city.
Correct.
And so when I said that I will bring you a change, they said, okay, because that's what they want.
I agree with that. People want change, but I want to go back to one of the things you were saying is that now that you know some of the challenges on why the facades are in the building.
But I don't agree with it.
You don't agree with it.
But I understand it. So I can tell people this is what happened. And even when I can talk about what happened, people still are not satisfied. Right. But that takes away from the rumor and innuendo and personal attacks about what happened.
And for me, what happened, the breakdown of what happened with the innuendos, the misinformation, that is extremely frustrating because if instead of explaining the what happened, you had people who cared, who from my understanding, and this is me saying this, who to keep progress from happening, they would set out misinformation. They would set out rumors. They would sabotage progress.
But let's not talk about them, because the lion's share of people. Think about how many people voted against and how many people didn't come back out who voted for. Because those numbers, if you look at the numbers, the number of people who voted against was pretty consistent. It may have grown a little bit. It was pretty consistent. What changed and what caused Go Forward in last year to lose twice was the number of people who had voted for it before and didn't vote for it again.
And didn't show back up.
Right. And so those were not people who were against progress. They were very silent in their whatever, their frustration, their disappointment, their opposition. You've got to say, don't pay attention to the people who were against that progress in that form. Pay attention to the people who wanted it to work, who had been supportive, and for whatever reason said, I can't support this anymore. Learn and understand why they didn't so that we can still progress, because there was a reason.
Why? Because their silence was
there
saying,
were reasons.
hey.
It was deafening.
Yeah, I'm quiet because I don't agree with it no more.
And you got to figure out, especially for the people who did support and didn't support afterwards, why not? Why not? At least you, as a staunch supporter, you need to be not paying attention to the folks you argue with on social media.
Time out. I'm not doing nothing. I'm done.
But you did.
I'm moving to Whitehall. I'm moving back to Little Rock. I'm throwing the towel in.
Knock it off.
I'm so frustrated with Palm Bluff.
But stop leaning into your frustration. Why can't you be uber concerned about the people who you were in lockstep with, who was like, I'm not going there anymore.
Right.
Care about that, because there's a reason that enough of them didn't support it. And if you really, 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 really want to see the progress, and you were really committed to the progress, you find out why, so we can move forward together again.
I agree. But, I will say this. You got to find, like you were saying, you got to find out that why. Why did you?
That's where you find the common ground. So when I talk about unity, it's not about rah-rah and so I got some kind of magic bullet and people love. I'm sure there are plenty of people who don't like me, and I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? But it's not about me. It's not about liking me. It's when you bring people together with the common ground that exists. That's how that's what it is.
Right.
And if you can find a way for people to come together around the issues that matter to them and their families and their homes and their businesses, that is how we're going to work together.
Yeah.
Now, we still may disagree about that, and that over there, but on these things over here,
we got to find out.
We agree. Like, why aren't we working together on those things? Yeah.
Do you feel confident that you'll be able to be that happy medium for a lot of people and be able to bring people in?
I don't know how happy it's going to be, but I can be
You'll be there.
I can strike a balance, and I'm committed to getting things done for the city. And for real, going back to those businesses that you talked about, none of us can afford to throw in the towel for real.
Amen to that.
I have a home, and I want my home value to go up. You know what I mean? I don't want to keep paying a mortgage that in vain. So that one day when I finish paying off my mortgage, my home is worth less than what I bought it for.
Right. 100%.
You see what I'm saying? I want, when I drive down the street, to feel safe. I want the streets to be well lit. I want to be able to go out to dinner without traveling 40, 50 miles. I want to be able to go to the movies if I want to and not have to leave my homestead on the weekend if I don't feel like it. If I feel like it, great. But, I want people who come visit me for homecoming, for Christmas, for special events, to have a hotel, a decent, more than decent hotel to stay in, to have plenty of Airbnb options, you know, to be able to take a Uber to the airport.
Right. Or the grider field, or the rice.
For sure.
Yep.
So, you know, I want those things, and I know other people who live in Pine Bluff want those things. And for sure, people who have businesses,
definitely,
they don't want to close their businesses.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
What has been the communication with some of the business community?
I think some measure of hope. I think maybe relief for people who didn't know me. That understanding how much we have in common, understanding that I do bring some level of experience, strong ties and relationships with people of mutual respect. That matters. Relationships matter when it comes
Very
to
much.
politics.
Yes.
And, you know, when I first started in the legislature, a lot of times people could tell what I was thinking, and because I'd be upset and couldn't believe some of the stuff I was hearing. But you learn to find out why. You learn to find out why, and then you learn how to work with the hand you're dealt, right? Because the political environment of today is very different than when I first got in politics 30 years ago. And you learn how to work with people. And out of that respect and ability to work with people that you don't necessarily agree with come friendships, like I have a lot of people. I got to call a member tonight who's been calling me, and I've been meaning to call her. There's a whole bunch we don't agree on, and sometimes I've been upset with her votes, but she wants to help. And I like her and respect her as a human being and as a public servant, and there are some things we can work together on. You know what I'm saying?
That's why you so good at this, because I'm going to be honest. Once I feel like you the op.
Oh, baby, I was you about 8 years ago.
Once I feel like you the op,
I was you 8 years ago. But, again, once you see people like for human beings, because everybody has their own baggage and everybody come from a different environment. There were people, so there's a woman who we came in together. She was super staunch Republican, very like anti-Obamacare. And I thought she was so mean. And we ended up coming together around, a one night where I voted for her bill, and we both felt like we were being attacked by the same politician, and we ended up talking, and we ended up gaining understanding, because she had filed some bills that I thought were absolutely nuts crazy. But when she explained why she filed the bills and how it was different in a very small rural area versus Pine Bluff or even Little Rock, where some of my other colleagues were like, what? I was like, okay, you're not crazy. And so once that barrier is broken, you can talk for real. And sometimes we still didn't agree on everything, but she ended up helping me on a bill that I worked behind the scenes on to expand resources and opportunities for minority businesses.
And you know what? These experiences and relationships are going to be so beneficial for the city of Pine Bluff.
Absolutely they will.
And I think, and of course, I don't want us to put the cart,
I don't
cart
know
before the
how.
horse.
I can't tell you exactly how, but I do know, for example, on the federal level, I've served for several years in leadership with the on the board and executive committee, and as a regional leader for the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. So I've done a lot of traveling and conferencing. We've met with the Congressional Black CBC, Congressional Black Caucus, Black mayors, and that's what has enabled us to work together to do things like ensure that we got that USDA money to the tune of almost $100 million, $30 million of it coming, and actually 50 now
to the city of Pine Bluff.
To the city of Pine Bluff.
So hold on, let's put some wheels on that. Okay. So basically, you've worked with some of your national people, friends, relationships to bring $50 million to Pine Bluff.
To make it happen.
To make it happen. And these are, things like that are what we can't ignore. Like, those are big, that's a big to-do. And I really feel like once people start hearing about those type of things, They gotta give it up for you, baby. They gotta let it be known that that's the type of stuff that we need done.
Yeah.
You know, we need people who got relationships who can go out and help build Pine Bluff, who can bring value to the city. So, hey, listen, you know, you the bomb for that one. So,
Thank you.
I don't want to put.
But I'm gonna say this though, that came from somebody who wasn't even elected, who came to me, asked me to get some letters written. It happened over years. Then we started working with black mayors and brought them in the fold, and then they did their thing, and it just has evolved. We have met with and worked with officials in Washington, and they ensured that what was originally $30 million became $50 million, just for Pine Bluff. And I'm sure there was an expansion for other areas in the state. But all of that is important. We're not even a Democratic state anymore. We got a Democratic presidential administration. We're not even a Democratic state. And we got more money than any other state of those dollars for flood prevention.
Wow.
That is about relationships, placement. You have people in Washington who are from Arkansas. You have folks from Arkansas who are now in Georgia who helped us get that money. You have a former state USDA official who really was the linchpin and got it started. And it really wasn't even planned for real like that. We were in the right place at the right time doing the right things when President Biden said, you know what, we need to invest and we're going to get money out to these states and these communities for infrastructure.
So let me ask you a question, because I want to make sure that people understand what we're talking about. That $50 million that'll come to Pine Bluff, right? Where will the average person see that $50 million at?
Okay, so probably in about 7 to 8 years, you will see the construction work completed. So there are 3 phases. There's a planning phase, right? And the next phase will be design. And then the phase after that will be construction for our, to address flood prevention through the infrastructure in the city and in the watershed in other areas. And they have to plan because they can't fix everything with that money, because it really would take probably 3 times that to fix it where we would not have any of the problems that we have. But we're going to probably see about a 40% change in the flooding issues that we have in the city now. And that includes work on our drainage system. So that's part of the expansion of the project, where before, that's money that would have had to come from the city, which we don't have.
Right.
So now they'll be able to spend money on some of the drainage issues that we have. But the beautiful thing, too, is we have leaders that have been doing things like Bill Jones. Bill Jones serves on Game and Fish. The Game and Fish Commission, which is a state commission, is going to raise and spend money to develop Bayou Bartholomew. One of the attractions and crown jewels of our natural state resources in Pine Bluff. So when you talk about, developing Bayou Bartholomew in a way where it'll attract tourists, it'll attract bird watchers, it'll attract people who want to ride a trail, it'll attract people, who want to canoe. Those are things
There's
that...
gators back there. I don't know why they want to go back there.
I don't know nothing about no gators.
There's gators back there. I see them on Courtney Kelly page all the time.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we might attract some people from Louisiana that don't care nothing about no gators. I don't know about all that. But I invite anyone who don't care about the gators to come to Pine Bluff.
Come to Pine Bluff.
Right?
The great, and I say it all the time. I say it every time I'm on the show. The greatest. Everything dope about Arkansas comes from Pine Bluff.
Word.
Bayou Bartholomew, where the swamp people and the gators be, is in Pine Bluff.
And I mean, we have a hell of a history. Like, there's the history is so rich. And I didn't learn about that until Jimmy Cunningham, kind of taught me about that history and brought his ideas to the forefront. And we worked together to get some legislation passed to create the highway, right?
All right.
To support that. And now we are partnering with cities in 2 other states to extend that highway.
Wow.
So that's how you build, and it happens over time. But when people kind of look crazy at the idea of Pine Bluff being a tourism destination, it can happen. It is happening. The work that is happening with the cultural district from the leadership of the A&P Commission and staff, including Jimmy Cunningham, and is incredible. And so all of that working together, we're about to have the convention center. Hotel is being demolished and is about to be rebuilt. You can see several floors that have gone up at the convention center with the casino.
Yeah, I seen that the other day. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you about the casino. At one point, and tell me if I'm wrong, I believe.
Oh, I'll say it for you. I was dead set against it.
Okay.
But it was if you go back and look at my comments and everything I said and wrote, it was never
I think you said you spoke against it on one of our earlier shows.
Yeah, but it was never about being against casino gambling. What I knew and still know is that you cannot create a casino environment in a state or in a city and not do things to build up that city so that it doesn't become a wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
All I have to say is Tunica, Mississippi.
Yeah.
They had tons of casinos. They built schools, highways, and now most of them are closed.
Yeah.
People went bankrupt. In Memphis, divorce rate. There are things that come along with that. So if you don't plan for it, you don't make sure that when you're building it, you are ensuring that there's opportunity for local jobs, local business contracts, then it's not going to be done right. And also, if you don't make sure that when you're putting the language and the planning together so that the tax rate and the sponsorship support is strong so that the host city benefits, you lose. Yeah. And I'll tell you, and this does not speak to the leadership we have now, because now Carlton Saffa, who I knew and worked with at the Capitol when he worked for Governor Hutchinson, he and I have a fine relationship. Mm-hmm. But the previous chief, and they've since had, I think they're on their 3rd chief, who, by the way, is a woman. But the first chief who brought this here and some of the folks he hired to help him, he did things in secrecy. He was not honest. He was not truthful. We ended up having one of the lowest tax rates on casinos in the country. Mm-hmm. That cheated us. It just did. Now, we are where we are. Our people voted for it. And I am committed to working with Carlton and that whole team to make sure that, what did I say during my campaign? Everybody wins.
Yeah, everybody wins. Let me ask you a question. So with that tax rate, do you feel like, is there ever any room to renegotiate that tax rate?
That's why I was against it. No, it will never happen.
Wow. Because
it was a change in our state constitution.
So we got to take what they give us.
Thank you. I said it a gazillion times in every way I knew how, in every language I know, which is English and Pig Latin. But this is the thing. The tax rate could have been different, and it wasn't. But that's why it's even more important now that we voted for it. Like, the legislature can't come back and make a law because we changed the Constitution
for that.
It was a constitutional amendment. It wasn't an initiated act.
But you know what I think we can do, and hopefully under your leadership, and we can push them to be more involved in the community.
That's happening. And I think that I can tell you that couple of things that Carlton has worked real hard on is put the casino in a better financial circumstance in terms of their interest rates and their growth, and getting the casino hotel done, getting the restaurants open, and the convention center to the casino open. They're going to bring in national acts. Like, it's going to be great.
I believe it is.
But it took a long time because the other thing I talked about is we didn't have any agreement to say, hey, when is this going to get done? When is the hotel going to get done? Because the hotel was part of the plan, like it would all be built together, and it wasn't.
Right.
Now, how long has the casino been open?
So basically, we done footed the bill on all of this.
And that's what my brother Dale Smith. Remember Dale Smith before he passed away?
Mm-hmm.
He would troll me about this, but he pulled me aside. We were good friends for a long time before
Shout
that.
out Dale. Shout out to
Dale. Rest in peace and love. But he told me, y'all ain't gonna get no hotel until y'all pay for it. And on top of that, you know, there were some real challenges. I don't know that they could pay for it.
Yeah.
There were some real challenges with the way the first leader of Quapaw structured their deal, and he's got some issues now.
Right.
But, and that's past. That ain't got nothing to do with us. No disrespect.
Right.
But it's leadership working together that'll make a difference is the bottom line.
Well, I hope I'm sure they'll tune into this interview. I would challenge them to get involved with entities like our youth.
I know they will.
And when I mean, one important thing in my heart that I really feel like the city of Pine Bluff needs to really be hands-on with, the city of Pine Bluff, anybody who's willing, the Pine Bluff Football League, the Youth Football League. The Youth Football League in Pine Bluff has been there over 30, 40 years, right? Tory Hunter started out there. I want to say Willie Rove. I know Carl Kidd started out there, who was just here. Basil Shabazz, he's actually coaching one of the teams now. The Pine Bluff Youth Football League is extremely important to the city because that is where we start building these relationships with these young boys, and we start teaching the parents and their fathers and men how to work on one accord and build common ground and build unity. If Saracen could find a way to invest in that league, they are planting seeds that I guarantee that they will, that not only they, but the city, the state will all benefit from. We have to figure out ways to do that. That's just my thoughts.
I'm in total agreement, and I think that it is absolutely up to parents, but the city itself, Saracen, and other corporate partners. It shouldn't rest with just the city or just Saracen. We all need to be pouring and investing in our youth. But if the city doesn't do it first, if the city doesn't set a standard, if the city doesn't say, hey, you know, companies, corporations, small businesses, let's come together. This is what we're doing. Can you help?
Yeah, I agree. And I think some of the challenges are we're so at each other's neck, and I know that you'll be able to bring in some of these people are so at each other's neck that they're unable to build these bridges.
Like who?
And find just
I mean, I'm not asking like a particular name, but
so,
like coaches or
not just
parents.
Coaches. It
or
might
teachers.
be coaches. It might be parents. It might be the school district not wanting to give access to the just things like that where some of the stuff is just a small conversation, and quite often these small conversations don't take place. And what I feel confident in is when you become mayor, that you'll be able to facilitate those conversations the same way you were able to facilitate the conversation with these people who were able to donate, or not donate, but help us build with the $50 million with the flood coverage and things.
I mean, I just think that's how we have to operate. I think that's how we all have to lead. I don't think it's just about me, and it's not just about the city. But I think if the city works together and leads in a way where we set an example, we prioritize, promote, uplift our kids. We make the investment. I think that then when we go to corporate partners, whoever that might be, I think people want to be a part of success.
Right.
People want to be a part of doing the right thing.
They want to see you win.
They want to do good. They want to do good. They want to see themselves win.
Right.
And it's like if I tether myself to, an organization, a city, a school, a family, a league that's doing these great things with these kids, I want to be a part of that. Yeah, I want to help that. Yeah, I'll give you $100.
It's good marketing.
Yeah, I'll give you $500. Yeah, I'll buy your flyers. Yeah, I'll buy your T-shirts.
100%.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this then, because I don't want. I think we'd be remiss. There are people that you're running against, the Libertarian Party, right?
Not people, one person.
One person, right? And so, do you feel like? Of course, we understand, and of course, you've laid out some of the benefits of voting for you. Do you feel like there's something that you bring to the table more so than them?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, and no disrespect, I think I bring experience. I think I bring definitely a homegrown sensibility and commitment. I mean, I was born in Pine Bluff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I have generations of family from Pine Bluff. And
hold on.
Mm-hmm. I think we had a little snafu.
Yeah, go ahead. I got them.
Yeah. But and honestly, nowhere does that come from my libertarian opposition. He is not from Pine Bluff, not from Arkansas even, and has never had any executive experience in government or even in business. And when I say executive, I mean so that you are meeting with and working with other people who have investments in the city. Like, that's important, because people got to trust that you can get things done, that you will listen. So I think that's really important. And then I would say a level of government experience and understanding about how things work together, how federal government, state government, city government work together, the associations, the leadership, how that interfaces with business, how that interfaces with schools and our school districts. I don't know that he's had any experience in fundraising, on a nonprofit level or on a campaign level. And then I just would say a level of civility and professionalism are really important. You cannot bring people together when you dig your heels in. And I have in certain circumstances back in the day and have wanted to. And that doesn't mean that, you can't be strong. That doesn't mean that you can't be firm about something where there is no room for compromise. There's certain things I'm not going to compromise on, right? But there are a lot of things that I think you can find common ground on and work together on, and then find understanding. Like, I might say, well, you know what? I might be able to support this in this way.
Mm-hmm.
But what you going to do about this over here?
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to negotiate. And if it for you is all or nothing, you ain't going to get nothing done. You just won't.
Yeah. You'll burn bridges.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically, and then because we've been on for a few minutes now,
Yeah.
specifically, I want to ask, what are your plans for our youth?
So a few things. I think that there are some things that we've done in the past that worked that I think we can bring back and support. Whether it's the city organized and funded programs, the summer jobs program, the sports leagues and the sports activities that the police department has supported in the past. I think that we can expand some of that. I am committed to creating internships throughout city government departments and opportunities so kids can get exposure to how stuff works and, improve and expand their soft skills and get into the workforce, maybe get an opportunity to get a job they otherwise might not have.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are some things. And then on a very broad level, I think we have to partner with our faith leaders and institutions A lot of people haven't gone back to church, right?
Right.
You have all these churches with facilities that are going unused, whether they're classrooms or gyms or event spaces, and our young people are out there without a whole lot of support or not without a whole lot of activities. Like we have a beautiful community center, but we don't have the money to build a community center in every ward or more than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we do have churches that we could partner with and establish some grant making opportunities for after school programs, for academic programs, for arts programs, for you name it. I think that you have a lot of retirees and experts in certain fields who attend these churches, who are leaders in these organizations, and the kids aren't connected to that. The kids aren't getting the benefit for that. So I think that there's a natural partnership that exists. I think we just have to create the administrative infrastructure to make that happen.
And figure out ways to kind of like facilitate those growths again, because it goes back to what I say, we're so segmented, but I'm confident in you leading the charge and building those relationships back. I'm excited about what you will do for the city of Pine Bluff, and I think that you will. I think that you'll help us be a lot better than where we are. I'm also grateful to know that some of the things that Mayor Washington has done that I'm sure that you'll probably continue.
Absolutely.
So, because she's done a great job.
We have a very good rapport. And
that's good.
I feel like I can call her and ask her a question. I try to attend as many public meetings as I can, just so I can start learning. Because I don't think that we can afford to wait until the first. Like, I think we got to be ready.
Right. You got to be able to jump in and start doing what you got to do that first meeting.
Yeah. And, and all this isn't foreign. I mean, when I go to city council meetings,
Robert's Rules of Orders won't be new for you.
Correct.
Like some people.
I didn't say that.
What is this?
I didn't say that.
Oh, everybody, listen, I'm going to tell you something. Everybody know my history with my boy, so.
But y'all came together nicely. He came on your show, y'all.
You know.
He did.
Yeah, thanks to you.
Yes.
People don't. Can I tell a story now?
Yeah.
People don't know that. I want to say people don't know that Miss Flowers was the one who facilitated that, and that goes to show her leadership capabilities on how she was how she's able to build bridges. Of course, everybody knew about what happened the night before. That next morning, she was on my phone like, this is what you need to do. Woo, 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 woo. And she was like, I've already talked to him and made this work. You call him and tell him you're going to do it, and y'all good. And you, all right, bet. Mm-hmm. So that's a small peek in the window of how she's able to facilitate and build bridges and make things work, because had not been for her, I probably would have been in jail. I had another phone call. And said, listen, Nate, they going to press charges, man.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, told me he was gonna press. He didn't. They said,
I just saw they was dragging you real good on social media. I was like, wow. And then I was supposed to go on your show. I'm like, what I'm gonna say about this? I wasn't there, and that was like the hot topic. And I just thought, when I talked to John, he was cool, and he was very willing to come talk it out and stuff. So, it was all good.
Yeah, ain't nobody.
And that don't mean y'all got to agree on everything. That don't mean.
Because I still went at him again a couple of times.
Yeah, and that's okay, but you did it the right way.
Right, yeah. I was definitely wrong for how I handled that a couple of times. Shout out to my brother Dirk, CEO, TSC all day. I see you tuned in with us, man. Shout out to Josh Curry, man. Listen, this your boy Big Nate with the Real Underground Radio Station. This is Nate Logic, baby. I'm sitting here with Miss Vivian Flowers, Mary-elect. Can I say that yet? Mary-elect?
Don't make him mad. Don't make him say it.
It is what it is.
I'm going to tell you what my friend calls me. The presumptive Mary.
The presumptive. Right. John ain't wasting them good folk money. I don't care about him.
I'm the Democratic nominee, for sure.
The Democratic nominee.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'd be remiss to not to completely ignore, and I already know how you feel, being the Democratic nominee. So I want to talk about Miss Vice President Harris.
Kamala.
Even
her babies got her nieces got on TV and had to tell the whole country how to say her name.
Unless I'm thinking about, listen, I mean absolutely no disrespect.
Yeah.
But if I don't pause and say it in my head first, I'm gonna mess it up. I'm Kamala. It's Kamala.
Yeah, like a comma.
Kamala. Okay.
And then la la la, like a la 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 la, like the baby said.
That's why I just said.
But you can, it's easy, Kamala.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I even feel you better put a handle on that.
Oh, for sure.
I just feel like that.
Sure.
I don't feel comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable just calling you by your first name, and we cool like that.
Yeah, we are.
But her, I felt like I want to put a handle on that.
Vice President. I love saying
Vice
it. Vice President Kamala
Put a little
Harris.
spice on that name when you say that, boy.
And then
I can't wait to say president.
I can't wait to drop the vice.
I can't wait to drop the vice.
How you like her vice presidential running mate?
I like him.
I like dude a lot.
I'm not going to say, I was kind of hoping for
Who?
Shapiro.
Why?
Because I just felt like Shapiro was another level of cool, more hip.
Well, this is the thing. I think he might be right for Pennsylvania, but he was problematic because of his position and his rhetoric around the attacks on Palestinians in Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
And, Michigan, there's a very large population of Muslims and Middle Easterns, particularly Palestinians in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't going. We were going to lose Michigan. And the horror and
lose it?
No, absolutely not. Nope. Because this is what people. I think that they are the Muslim community and people who understand what's really happening, understand the history of what is going on in Israel and Palestine along the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, understand that the number of innocents who have been killed from day one and how Israel has gone from bombing and moving people out of Gaza to somehow doing the same in the West Bank. And I'm telling you what Israelis are saying. And there's not a whole lot of press to show the protests that are happening, to discuss how embattled Netanyahu was. But the bottom line is the leader of Israel was on his way out, and he probably will not be reelected.
Mm-hmm.
And the distraction and the way that Palestinians have been treated in the past anyway, and now they are being moved around. Innocent men, women, and children, especially kids.
It's atrocious.
It's atrocious. And there's just nothing you can say about it. It goes against international law. It goes against humanity. It goes against our Christian values. And it goes against what many Israelis say is the right thing. So anyway, going back to Shapiro, he was a very loud voice and was in part responsible for attacking the women presidents of the University of Pennsylvania, and really pushed for her to be fired. And I have a problem with that. I know a lot of young people have a problem with that. I'm for sure that many people across the country, especially in Michigan, have a problem with that. Mm-hmm. And for all of the excitement and the exuberance that you saw come from young voters, that was going to be stopped in its tracks had she chosen him. So for me, I was not only concerned about whether or not she would select him. Oh, and then plus, he like covered up sexual harassment that took place in his administration.
Oh,
I mean,
wow. It was a lot of stuff. Okay.
It was some stuff, and that, whether you know all the details, okay, I'm not saying
they would have definitely came out.
It was not going to be good. But it wasn't just that she didn't select him. It's that she selected Walls after meeting with all of them to let me know that she's for real.
And she does her,
because
she did her
due diligence, and she did not go with
the popular choice.
The choice, the safe choice.
Because I felt like it was going to be Shapiro, or it was going to be from Arizona, the senator from Arizona.
Yeah.
Now, my only concern with it being a senator from Arizona
that we'd lose him.
Yeah, we'd lose that.
And I'm sure they thought about all of that, but I think the beautiful thing about her picking Walls is that dude is not going. Don't mess with his family.
Yes.
And for real, don't mess with him.
And you know what? You know what he reminded me of? The good old ball coach.
Because he is a good old ball coach.
That's what I'm saying. It reminded me of the PE coach, the football coach from Jack Roby.
Yeah.
It reminded me, if he didn't care where you were from, what you had going on, how are you? Do you do what you're supposed to do, son?
Yeah.
It reminded me of Mr. Schultz from Pine
just
Bluff
learning
High.
For real, and learning so much about him and his history, whether you have people who are going to look at his military service and be like, okay, that's the real deal, or people who look at his experience as a teacher for that many years,
Yes,
and his wife, and then while he taught, he coached and was a successful coach and cared about his kids. But even aside from that, the fact that he is and I'll say it like this, he's an older Midwestern white man that went in a governor's office and cared about the kids, not just kids that look like his kids, but made sure no matter what income you came from, no matter what neighborhood you lived in, no matter what your mama did and your daddy did for a living, or whether they were unemployed, he made sure, kids in Minnesota are going to eat when they get to school, and they're going to be able to be healthy, and so they can learn. For someone to do that.
Also, his stance with George Floyd.
For sure.
These things all play. He ain't missed.
And you know what?
I can't think of a miss.
At the end of the day, the beautiful thing about him and how he communicates, how he responds to people who come for him, how he supports policies that are good for everybody, especially Black people and other people of color. He
don't come from that good old boy network.
He comes from a good old boy network.
Yeah.
He comes from a fair one. You know what I'm saying? And the main thing is he's not scared.
He ain't got no punk.
He's not afraid of not being reelected. He's not afraid of somebody coming for him because he's not conservative enough, or he's not the right kind of white man. He is who he is.
He stand on his own too.
And so
you gotta appreciate that.
So the fact that she was not afraid to pick him when some people might say he's not this enough or that enough, she's like, no, this is who we are, and we ain't going back. And I'm like, I'm with you.
I'm riding. I like him.
I'm riding.
I like him. What amazes me, I want to go back to what we were talking about the Palestinian. What trips me out about some of these people who were still saying she's not giving the Palestinian people enough microphone. And my thing is this: do you not realize if Trump get over there, if that's Netanyahu's homeboy, you talking about beachfront property? Talking about golf space.
Some people say that's his pimp, but
yeah.
Now I didn't say that, but some people have said that.
That's his pimp. Netanyahu. Hey, listen, and people need to realize this, man. Trump is running to stay out of prison. He don't care nothing about nothing else. He is running to stay out of prison. His sentencing is November 28th, or something like that. November the sentencing date. That's one thing. When they get those charges in Florida put back on the docket, because you can't keep them off, that's going to be another thing. But most importantly, we are looking at, if Trump gets back in office, he's going to replace two more Supreme Court justices.
You know what? I'm not going to say that's not going to happen. I'm going to say, because everybody's so scared of, I don't want to jinx nothing. So I don't believe in jinxing stuff. But I'll say this. I think it's highly unlikely. And I'm going to tell you why.
The numbers just ain't there.
Well, it's not even just the numbers. It's so many dynamics. So the numbers are running in her favor, and this is $1 billion campaign. This will be $1 billion campaign. And when you have Vice President Harris filling stadiums all over the country, garnering group support.
They're being bushed in.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm not. And that's one thing. So we can be excited about that. And a lot of people say, well, these numbers how can it even still be close? He has a very strong contingent of people who want to see the continuation of tax cuts for the rich and for corporations. They'll hold their nose because the kind of stuff that he's doing that's a threat to the democracy, that's a threat to immigrants, to people of color, to poor people, poor white people. The people who are benefiting from the tax cuts are not affected by those things that I just mentioned.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? And then when he feeds the fears and the prejudices of people who either have ignorance or hate or whatever, for people who don't look like them or are afraid of losing their position or favor, he just has a very strong 40%.
Correct. Now, I agree with that.
You see what I'm saying? But we're forgetting about the folks like those who supported President Obama, who may not have sent money in, they may not have taken a poll, they may not have put a sign in their yard, but they sure voted for him twice.
2 times. And you know what? I want to speak on this and get some insight from you. The only plan or half-ass decent idea, which isn't half decent, is tariffs, right? 2 points I want to make. One about tariffs and then one about the undocumented workers. The first point, tariffs, right? So if he starts with these tariffs, so for instance, let's say he puts a 20% tariff on whatever, on anything made here, right? So he puts that tariff on anything made here. So he pulled out the vote plan.
I did.
That tariff is only going to be passed on to the consumer.
Well, that's why, the tariffs that he put in place when he was, does that mean, I'm sorry. The tariffs that he put in place, the tariffs that he put in place when he was president were deemed by experts to be counterproductive, to be costly, and to cost consumers more because they were just passed on to consumers.
100%.
So
it's common sense.
Now that was beneficial maybe to some companies who got to pay less, or really it was a net, zero
Yep.
impact for them, because if I'm bringing in goods and now I'm paying a tariff, but I pass it on to consumers.
And the consumers stop purchasing.
Correct.
So
then actually it was a loss to businesses too.
Right.
That couldn't make sense.
Right. And remember, he did push for some tariffs on metal and things like that.
Yeah.
So all these things added to where we are now, inflation.
Which, correct. I mean, and the average person, and for real, even learned people, if you're not really aware of how economics works and the timeline and how what affects what, it's very easy to listen to his sort of distracting remarks and simplistic remarks and believe that somehow the Biden administration is the cause of inflation.
I
And
mean, it's
just
simple,
not.
though. It's simple economics, and it's simple understanding utilities. So what I would say first is somebody has it's some simple supply and demand. You've basically increased the cost, which is going to decrease demand.
Well, and the other thing too, though, is you can't look up and see the same companies that are charging 2 and 3 times for whatever it is they're selling, paying higher dividends to their stockholders, and the CEOs
Now
getting millions of dollars in bonuses, and they not hurting, but somehow the inflation is the fault of the administration.
Crazy.
That math ain't mathing.
Crazy work. Second thing, and then I'm going to give you some time, and then we're going to get out of here. Second thing, if you take off all the labor force, because he's saying he's going to start deporting 11 million undocumented workers, right?
Ain't going to happen.
Ain't going to happen. You take away the labor force, so now you got all these people that you done deported. You got all the people who were doing these service jobs in the hotels. Guess what's going to go up? Cost. You got all these people that you got afraid to come out and go to work. You got all these people working in the fields. Guess what's going to go up? Cost, because now it's a higher labor cost because you got to do more to find the labor. Unless I just thought about this, they start making folks in prison do more work.
Yeah, but they're not going to bring people out of prison to work in hotels, and you know what I'm saying? And there's
They'll
not
put them
enough.
in the field, though. Go pick some oranges.
And some of that already happens, but I'm saying there's still not enough capacity to take people out from behind bars and put them in a position to do that kind of labor. And a lot of that agricultural labor is done mechanically anyway. It's not the same.
That's true.
I'll just say this, though. I do remember, and I don't know if you remember, that when there was this draconian, we're going to shut down the border without attention to the workforce needs of certain industries, who did you hear crying foul?
Right.
Farmers.
Yeah, because who's going to work the farm?
That's right. So, you saw that happen in Florida.
Yeah.
So it's just not going to happen without destroying the economy, is what I'm saying.
100%.
Okay.
100%. So when he gets to talking about we're going to deport and all this, and it's so frustrating.
And the thing is, who's going to get deported are black and brown folks, because half of the immigrant population who are undocumented are people from Canada and Europe and who are not people of color. And they're not being, how are you going to really do that unless you just going to do the black and brown ones so you can see with your naked eye who you think are immigrants?
Because his wife an immigrant. Her whole family came in on the joke.
Yeah, but they straight now.
Yeah, they straight now. But I say all that to say this. Mm-hmm. Like you saying, black and brown folks are the ones that's going to get deported. But the ones from Europe, they straight. From Canada, from Iceland, from Czechoslovakia, from Poland, the ones of a fair skin tone going to be straight.
But all of this is about distractions. I mean, all of it. Because he's not going to do that. And this foolishness about Haitians eating cats and dogs.
Oh, my God.
I mean, anything to strike some sort of racist trope is what they're doing. His vice presidential, was it vice presidential running mate? Who? Oh, my God.
It was J.D. Vance.
No, it was somebody else who, let me say this.
Uh-oh.
I'll tell you about it later. I'm not even going to say it.
Uh-oh.
Let me say this. Listen for what Dave Chappelle used to call the hidden racism. Okay? And that's always what they keep talking about and keep trying to draw people back to. And that's why Vice President, soon to be President Harris, is not going for the okie doke. because you know what? She has had experience as a prosecutor. And by the way, even though her record was, people got misinformed about her record, she actually was a very progressive prosecutor and didn't put a whole bunch of black men in prison. As a matter of fact, she created programs to help reentry and to prevent more black men from going to prison. And you can see that if you look her up on the internet.
Right.
One minute they call her San Francisco liberal, the next minute they trying to say she put a bunch of black folks in prison, and it just didn't happen.
It's just, it's unfortunate. I'm not a politician, so I'm gonna say it's man, these folks stupid, man. These folks done lost their damn mind. You think this lady? Oh my God, it's so frustrating.
But when you it's not that people are stupid. It's people are overwhelmed with misinformation by people they trust.
Oh my God.
And so if you keep doing that, and every time you look up, it's a new distraction, right?
Yes.
It's a new distraction. So one minute, she's dumb, she's liberal, she put black men in prison, she's not black.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? It's always something to keep us from talking about these record profits and record bonuses
that
to
these
CEOs.
CEOs.
So we're not talking about the fact. So they want to call her the immigration czar and make it like, the overwhelming of the border when that happened a couple of years ago was somehow her fault and their misstep. But they're not going to talk about how she met with leaders of countries south of the border, and it was actually her work that led to a 50% decrease in border crossings from very specific countries that she worked in.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to talk about that. They just want to say borders are.
Anything that sticks to paint her.
But guess what? It ain't sticking.
It ain't sticking.
It ain't sticking.
Man, I'm so ready for this whole Trump world to be done. I'm ready for that. So we've been on here for a minute. I want to give you some time. I'm gonna mute my mic. I do this every show. This is your boy Big Nate with the Real Underground Radio Station. This Nate Logic, baby. Hey, I want to give you some time to give you a shout out, say whatever you need to say, and then we're gonna get out of here.
Well, first of all, I want to say a shout out to John and Mary Flowers, Dr. John and Mrs. Mary Flowers. My mom and daddy, my brother John Jr., and just my family. They are incredibly supportive. I love them. We're close. And I can't forget about my Jurgen family. That's my mom's family. There's a whole bunch of other names I could mention, but we're going to say the Flowers and the Jurgens. Those are my people.
Shout out Dr. Flowers.
Yes.
I love you, Miss Flowers.
So I think I want to close with a shout out to the people who work for the city of Pine Bluff.
Okay.
The people who work for the city of Pine Bluff certainly ain't in it for the money, because we don't have no whole bunch of money. We don't have no huge salaries. They're public servants, and they are the ones that make our city run every day. Yeah. And often they're forgotten, the least paid, sometimes do the hardest work. Whether you're talking about our secretaries, our maintenance guys and women, our firefighters, our street department, inspection and zoning, code enforcement. And I definitely want to give a shout out to our GVI servants who are trying to make a difference, and Judge Brown. Like, there are so many people already working together. It's a misnomer that nothing's getting done and we don't work together. And I will also give a shout out to Mayor Shirley Washington. I have talked to her and met with her, and I ran for a reason. I think there are some things that I can bring to the city. She has been great and gracious at ensuring that there will be a smooth transition just by being open to me coming to public meetings and answering any questions I might have, for sure. But I think that's important. And I think as we look to the presidential race, the smooth transition of power, respect for the election process and for constituents, and having campaigns where we can look toward people voting and trusting the outcome, and then trusting that people will move accordingly in the transition. That's what we are going to see and what we have seen, I think, in Pine Bluff, and that's what I hope happens in Washington, D.C. when our vice president becomes president.
Oh, wait, baby. This your boy, Big Nate. This the Real Underground radio station. I always got love for you. I am so grateful for you to come sit down and talk with big old me.
Oh, I think we've been trying to make this happen for a couple of months, so I'm glad for your patience.
Yeah, we made it work. We had some, but we're going to make it work.
For sure. We're going to keep making it work.
This platform I have that I've been blessed to have, I want to be a good steward of this platform.
Yeah.
I think that's important is taking care and respecting the platform. I want to be a place where anyone can come for the greater good. I want to never create a space where someone has felt they have been disrespected or my actions have disrespected. That's why I'm so grateful for your facilitating the relationship between me and John, and other people as well, because I know a lot of people take me. I can be a bit much. I know that, and I'm okay with being a bit much, but I'm passionate about what I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
If it means something to me, I'm going to say something. You're not going to eat my sandwich because I was just looking at it. That's my sandwich that you picked up and bit. That's something that's my city. I don't do that stank city. I'm passionate about my city.
Right. That's right.
I'm passionate about my state.
You got to remind people we're the city of progress.
About what I am passionate about. If I'm hard to deal with, I understand. I apologize, but I care about what I care about. You ain't going to have to question, guess, or think. You're going to know where Nate stands.
Yep.
And so if that makes you feel uncomfortable, I'm sorry for your uncomfort. Let me give you a pillow. It's going to be hard, baby, but it's fair. This your boy, Big Nate. This the Real Underground radio station. Oh, wait, baby. This Nate Logic, baby. Listen, man, I dare not leave y'all without a thought. I dare not leave y'all without a groove, baby. I want y'all to know that, man. This your boy, man. I'm here for you, baby. I got it for you. I want you to know. Oh, I want you to know. Oh!
All right,
come on.
Nate.
Wait a minute. Let it get a little funky for you, baby.
Shout out for Frankie Beverly.
Shout out Frankie Beverly. Southern girl.
Oh, that's nice.
Let's see here, baby. Shout out to the Qs. We tailgating this weekend. We're gonna have some barbecue out there at the UCA UAPB game. Come holler at the bros. Come get you some barbecue. Enjoy some good football.
Oh, we gotta give a shout out to my sisters in Delta Land.
Hold on, wait a minute.
I just want to give my sisters in all of Delta Land a beautiful, beautiful shout out, especially my sisters in the Pine Bluff Alumni Chapter, and most especially my sisters in 53 Degrees of Fortitude. And with that,
shout out Shonda G too, baby. Long live Shonda G. We love you, baby.
yes.
Long live Shonda G. Well, Shonda was such a awesome force. You couldn't, every time I would see her, hey, baby.
Beautiful soul.
Oh, my God.
Beautiful soul.
Some people you can't help but to feel good around.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was one of them folks, man.
For sure.
She made your soul feel good.
She lifted your spirit for sure.
Oh, wait, baby. I love you, Shonda G. Oh, we finna get out of here. This your boy, Big Nate. This is the Real Underground Radio Station. Shout out to Phillip Hood, Henry Brooks, Ryan Davis next week. I got a debate coming up, Colton Edwards, William Fells.